We come now to our seventh installment of Anglicans You Didn't Know You Knew. And this, again, as a reminder, these videos are designed and produced to give you or introduce you to people that you know, probably by name and probably by some accomplishment of theirs, but you're not aware that they practice the Anglican faith. These great historical figures that the Anglican Church has produced, Americans have have been influenced by and gained from their contribution to their country, but they've been forgotten, or at least no one has been taught their religious affiliation. Some have been foundational in different ways, as I choose different people here, but some have been foundational to the religious fabric of the country, of course, such as our Anglican subject today. If you're an American, the Anglican faith is part of your cultural, your religious, and historical heritage. And so I encourage you to consider that as an Anglican. Francis Drake is our subject today. Francis Drake, born in 1540, dies in 1596. Some would dispute the date of his birth. Some dated about 1543 or so. He's born in Devonshire, England, son of a tenant farmer. Drake is the oldest of 12 sons, born to Edmund Drake and Mary Milway Drake. He's brought up, however, not necessarily by the immediate family, but relatives in Plymouth. The Hawkins family is actually raised by them. The Hawkins family are interesting. They are a seafaring family, but some would actually call them merchants. Some would call them privateers. Some might even call them pirates. So I'll let you choose which you decide. Drake goes to sea at age 18. And he's going with the Hawkins fleet at that time. By the 1560s, though, he's actually already gained a command. So now he's in his early 20s. He's already commanding a ship, so very young age there. 1567, Drake and his cousin John Hawkins are sailing to Africa on the ship the Judith, and they're off to join and contribute to the slave trade. In 1568, they are hit by a hurricane, and the ship is pretty damaged, and so this small fleet actually of ships are damaged, and they make port in Spain. And there is an agreement in the port to allow them to come in and make repairs. However, this is ignored by a new viceroy that's there, someone in charge, and so Drake and Hawkins unfortunately now have to watch hundreds of their own sailors, their own men, either killed or taken into slavery themselves. So the ship is obviously vulnerable. It's parked, it's anchored, it's being repaired, and this makes the attack quite easy and quite quick for the Spanish fleet. Drake and Hawkins managed to escape this. Drake is said to have swum away and escaped this slaughter. And he never forgets this, and so he's going to remember this for the rest of his life. Later on, when they sail to New Spain, this is over now, closer to in the Americas. They're going there to sell some captives to some settlers there, which is apparently against Spanish law at the time. And so they are trapped there by a Spanish attack in a port San Juan de Ulua, which is kind of the east coast of Mexico. So they're there, and New Spain, by the way, is a portion of land that includes modern-day Mexico, but you've also got Panama, Florida, California, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, even Texas. That's New Spain encompasses all that land. Drake returns to England with what would be a lifelong hatred for Spain and, of course, for King Philip II, the king. And in 1577, this is Queen Elizabeth I, she sends him on kind of a secret mission to go and do some expedition work in the American Pacific and up the sort of the west coast of the Americas, and Spanish colonies are there. So Drake becomes the first English sailor to actually navigate through the Straits of Magellan. If you look on a map, that's down the southern tip of South America. He leaves Plymouth in 1577, and he has a convoy of 5 ships. In Portugal, they pick up a 6th ship, and they're on their way, but only his ship makes it actually to his is the flagship, the Pelican. His is the only ship that actually makes it into the Pacific Ocean area, where he arrives in 1578, the next year. The ship is renamed at that time the Golden Hind, the Golden Hind. The Golden Hind makes its way now up the west coast of South America, up to North America, plundering towns as they go along, plundering Spanish ports, and of course they're capturing ships, they're capturing gold and silver and all kinds of jewels as well. The Golden Hind is also, because of all this plundering, weather, any kind of fighting, it's going to incur damage. So again, they've got to port somewhere and make repairs. So to do that, they reach the west coast of California. And here's where it begins to be more pertinent to us. It lands in the San Francisco Bay Area. Some put it a little bit northern in the Marin County area, if that's outside of San Francisco, but it's up in that general area. Information on his landing is actually found in his journals. He journals and writes about this, his 1579 landing here. So in June, it is the first Sunday after Trinity. And so Drake and his crew, has a crew of 75 men, they're making repairs on their ship. They stay there for a total of 36 days. And in the meantime, they're mingling with the natives, even, and apparently in a friendly manner. On board the ship there, he's got 40 tons of gold, silver, and other jewels and treasures. This is the first landing by an Englishman on any shore of what is now the United States of America. So you've got, this precedes the Roanoke landing by 6 years. It precedes the Jamestown landing by 28 years. So quite an amazing early landing here. Key point here, Reverend Francis Fletcher is a chaplain on the ship, and he is the one who holds the very first Christian church service in the Americas, North America. He does it in English, and it's taken completely from the Anglican Book of Common Prayer. So it's another thing we're very proud of, is our book. And the Coast Miwok people, Indian people that are there, are actually observing this. They're watching this. And again, regular Anglican worship's not going to happen in America until you get Jamestown, 1607-ish. So this is very early. Drake is worried, however, at this time. They're worshiping, and the natives are watching, and they're observing this. And he says he thinks that they receive the English sailors as if they were gods. And so this is concerning them. And so they're praying. He says that he and the sailors prayed, and they raised their hands to heaven. They prayed that to the knowledge of him, they believe they're idolaters. And so it's to the knowledge of him and of Jesus Christ, the salvation of the Gentiles, and sort of saying, don't worship us as gods. We're men like yourselves. Today, there's a 75-foot tall prayer book cross, it's called, commemorating Drake's landing there, found in the San Francisco's Golden Gate Park, and it marks there, and of course Drake's Bay is there as well. Some Anglicans even make pilgrimages to this cross because of its importance, because of its historic association to Anglicanism. In 1587, now, Drake sails to Cadiz and Corunna, which are also in Spain, where he destroys 37 Spanish ships. And these ships, he did so because they were gearing up to attack England. In 1588, now Drake is now vice admiral of the English fleet, and he's under Lord Howard Effingham. And Effingham, if you look him up, he is involved in the fleet that destroys the Spanish Armada. So Francis Drake's achievements are quite interesting, and the people that he runs with and runs into are also important figures in history. So Drake's achievements, his ability to deliver cargo, to deliver treasure, to deliver spices to England, impresses Queen Elizabeth quite greatly. So Elizabeth I knights him. He's knighted Sir Francis Drake on April 4th, 1581. Drake presents Elizabeth with a jewel that he's acquired. He presents this jewel to Elizabeth for commemorating his successful circumnavigation of the entire Earth, which is also a point of interest. On January 27th, 1596, Francis Drake dies. He dies of dysentery, and he dies in Portobello Harbor in Panama. So always a seaman all his life. When he realizes that he's close to death, he asks that he would be buried in his armor. He wants to be buried in his armor, and he is. And he's placed in a lead coffin, a lead box, and he's buried at sea. And he's buried alongside, actually, his cousin, Admiral Sir John Hawkins, who I mentioned earlier on. So Francis writes a prayer, and I'll give you the text of that right now. It's pretty well written, and you can tell that he weaves in these oceanic, seafaring some of the terminology into the prayer. So here's the text. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have come true because we have dreamed too little, when we arrived safely because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when, with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity, and in our efforts to build a new earth, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wider seas, where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push into the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. This we ask in the name of our captain, who is Jesus Christ. Amen. So, Francis Drake, sea captain, explorer, circumnavigator, and the man who first brings English-speaking worship to America, and directly from the Book of Common Prayer. Drake isn't just another Anglican you didn't know you knew, who is an important part of your and my American religious heritage and history.